Hey everybody, hopefully you all are doing well out there. Just wanted to share some thoughts that I had here in this video. Before I begin, I'd like to say rest in peace to Robert Redford, who passed away earlier today at the age of 89. He was one of America's finest actors, and he was a great man on and off the screen. So I wanted to get that out there here real quick. What I wanted to talk about here in this video is there's been a lot of commotion, there's been a lot of talk, a lot of arguing back and forth, a lot of division, of course, all over this matter of the assassination of Charlie Kirk that took place on last Wednesday in Utah. And this man was essentially a martyr who died for his he essentially was a martyr who died for his beliefs. And it's very unfortunate that these things have to happen for some people to wake up and realize that there's more than what this world has to offer, and that we need Jesus Christ in our lives. And it's unfortunate that people have taken sides and have become so passionate and emotional over this to the point where they want to have nothing to do with people who disagree with them, and essentially cutting them off from their lives. And I don't believe the Lord would want us to do that. I believe the Lord would want us to reach out to those people and have constructive dialogue with them. Now, there are situations where maybe that person is so entrenched in what they believe in that it's almost impossible. And it happens from time to time, unfortunately. But I believe in most cases we can come together and talk about these things and share our thoughts with each other. And so, I've read a lot of comments and seen a lot of videos regarding this situation. And it's important to note that, in regards to whether the churches should say anything or not, there's been a lot of talk about that lately, about churches. Some have even come out against a lot of these churches and who said either nothing or very little about the events that happened last Wednesday during their service this last weekend in a lot of these churches. And it's important that we don't let pastors, leaders, and social media influencers try to convince us that somehow this is all wrong. It's better that we disregard those people who are doing that, because they're essentially sowing division, and as Christians we don't need that, and we don't want that. These people they're not going to be at your wedding. They're not going to be there for you during your achievements or your failures in life. They're not going to be there at your funeral. They're not going to pray for you, and they're not going to disciple you. So it's better that you ignore these people who are trying to get you to say, well, all these churches and pastors who didn't say anything, you got to get out of there. You got to leave and run away from there and get out of there as fast as you can. It's really just, it's kind of stupid, to be honest with you. These people aren't going to be there for you when you're in your time of need. But I tell you what, I'll tell you who will be there, though. The Lord will be there for you. Your pastor will be there for you. Your brothers and sisters in Christ who you worship with in church every week will be there for you. Those are the people who matter. Those are the people you need in your life who will help encourage you in this journey in your walk with the Lord. Those are the people who you need around you. And so, it's important that we have to have balance and be able to read the room, and all these people, it can get very, very vindictive easily among people, So I don't think we really need to shame or criticize others who think differently. And it's important that this movement that has somewhat taken place over the last few days. I guess you could call it a movement. It's only been almost a week since this happened. So only time will tell what will come out and what will happen as a result of this unfortunate tragedy. It's important that this isn't, that this movement that people are becoming a part of is Christ-centered and not man-centered. If Jesus Christ is at the center of this, then it's important. It's okay. But if it's man-centered, it's not going to accomplish anything. And so that's what we really need in our lives, because we need to stop paying attention to voices that are just sowing division and causing a lot of trouble on both sides. Because there's a lot of people on the left who are saying these disparaging comments about him and stuff, and shame on those people. It's very unfortunate that they're engaging in this type of behavior. At the same time, there's a lot of people on the right who are essentially saying mean and disparaging things to those people, whether there is righteous indignation or not, God only knows. That's between them and God. But we got to be very careful that we don't get judgmental on these people, and let's show some grace for these churches and for these pastors who, for whatever reason or another, only God knows, but for whatever reason did not mention or mentioned very little about the tragic events that took place last Wednesday in Utah. Instead of going after them and saying mean things about them, we should pray for them. We should hold them up in prayer, that they would see, that the world around them is crumbling, and that they need Jesus. And there's a lot of false churches out there. Obviously, people should have gotten out of these churches way before all this stuff started happening. And so it's important that we have compassion for others and be able to treat others with respect. And I know that's easier said than done. There's going to be people that get on your nerves, and you're going to feel like you're going to want to get retribution for them or whatever. And so just ask yourself, remember those bracelets back in the late 90s or early 2000s or somewhere around that time? It said WWJD, what would Jesus do? We should all ask ourselves that when we come across any situation, anything in life, what would Jesus do? And so if we ask ourselves that would help give us some perspective and to make the right decisions that we need to make in life. And so let's not, I just hope that, instead of going out and seeking revenge, try and be a light to those around you. I believe that's what Charlie Kirk would want. To be a light to those around you and to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. And that's what we really need to do, because I know there's a lot of people who have come up with the phrase like, I am Charlie Kirk and whatnot. I think we shouldn't try to be like Charlie Kirk. We should try to be like Jesus Christ. I don't think he would want us to be like him. I think it's like, whoa, man. It's like, I think anybody who's was a notable figure, would ever want us to ever be like them. I mean, they would want us to be like Jesus. Every preacher that has gone on to be with the Lord, I don't think they would want us to be like them. They'd want us to be like Jesus Christ. And so that's some of the things that I had to say in this video here. So again, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully you all are having a wonderful day out there and a wonderful week. And I'll see you guys in the next video, Lord willing. And so just some thoughts that I had to share with you here today. And so hopefully you enjoyed listening to him, and hopefully, once again, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Take care, everybody, and God bless you.